What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners postgame to talk about a win. We haven't talked about many of these recently, so it's going to be fun to dive into it. Before I get started, as always, hit that sub button, hit the like button. Again, just a huge thank you to everybody that comments, likes. Truly appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. About, again, 65-70% of the views are coming from unsubscribed. So if you are just casually watching it, enjoying it, I encourage you to hit that sub button and get involved in the conversation in the comments down below. I apologize once again for being in a different room, but when these games end at 10:30, it's not easy to find a spot where somebody isn't sleeping to be able to make my video. This one's going to be pretty short. One, it's 10:30 at night, so I'm a little tired. And that's actually about the only reason it's going to be a little bit short. The Mariners win 6-2. A great win all the way around for the team. The offense was fantastic tonight, pounding out 16 hits, along with a couple, 16 hits, just one walk tonight. The pitching was great all around. So actually a lot to talk about in this game. And despite everything, despite how bad the road trip's been, despite how bad some of the recent play has been, you've got a chance to win a series tomorrow and to get back home at 500. Now, I know we're all kind of tired of playing the 500 game, getting there and then trying to get back over. But, you know, you can't play any previous cards. You got to play the cards that are on the table right now, and that's what this team is. And they need to get back to 500 before they can go any further. So hopefully that can start tomorrow. Logan Gilbert's actually going tomorrow instead of Bryce Miller. I think that's a good decision by Scott. A tough divisional game. Logan's going to be pitching on normal rest. Logan's been pitching a little bit better than Bryce recently. Gives Bryce an extra day, a little bit more rest between starts for him for his inning load. Gets him back to pitching at home. That might help a little bit. Maybe a little bit of desperation there, I wonder, by Scott, too, to think, like, listen, we're maybe a little bit better off with Logan tomorrow. But I think it's a good move. I think it's smart. And I feel better about the Mariners tomorrow. Right now, with the way things are going with Logan on the hill. Let's start with the pitching, as we always do. I thought Bryan Woo threw the ball really, really well tonight. I talked about it in the last start in my last video. I said that despite the 6 runs in the 2 innings, I thought his stuff looked pretty good. It was just too much middle. And you cannot get away with that at the big league level. Much better tonight with hitting his spots. I thought that fastball and the 2-seamer, he painted it several times. I thought when he needed it, the slider was actually pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was good enough of a show-me pitch to make sure that fastball wasn't just everybody sitting back on it and teeing off on a fastball. He had a really nice slider to strike out Hunter Renfroe. Gave up the 2-run home run to Shohei Ohtani on a pitch that really wasn't that bad. It was a slider off the plate in on Ohtani. He just turned on it. You face great hitters like that they're going to do that to you. So it's a shame that Woo couldn't get through the 5 innings. But, to me, that's still a victory for him. I know he doesn't technically get the win, but I thought a really good start for Bryan Woo. Encouraging. The 7 strikeouts was fantastic. A lot of first pitch strikes. I think 14 of the 19 batters he faced first pitch strike. So I thought he was really good. Looking forward to his next start. Gabe Speier came in, pitched a third of an inning, and it was quite a third of an inning. Struck out Shohei Ohtani on a bit of a controversial call, a called third strike, then on a pitch that was, it was outside. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The pitch was definitely outside. Phil Nevin, Angels manager, got tossed. I don't disagree with him. I thought he had a case. Now, he was going crazy on it. I don't think it was that bad of a call. Listen, if the Mariners were called out on that pitch, would I be upset? Yes. It was outside, but it wasn't as egregious as I think Nevin made it out to be. It was a good pitch. It was a 3-2 pitch from Speier. I thought it was a really good pitch because you really can't swing at that. You got to take it. He probably wanted it to be a little bit more on the zone, but I thought that was a really good pitch from Gabe Speier. So I'm going to give him credit for getting that out. And listen, the Mariners, this is one of those games that a lot of kind of things go right for them. They've been on the other end of that almost all season, so I'm not apologizing for it. I'll take it. But definitely understand Ohtani and Nevin's frustration there. Topa worked an inning in 2/3. He was fine. Good job by Scott. Once a couple guys got on to go to Andres Munoz there in the 7th inning, who is 100% back to Munoz of last year. He worked an inning in the 3rd, no hits, 3 strikeouts. There were 2 on with 2 outs in the 7th with Mickey Moniak up for the Angels, which means Ohtani on deck, Trout in the hole. Good job by Scott to go to Munoz so you can avoid Ohtani or Trout coming up with a lot of men on there. You don't want Ohtani coming up with a tying run in that situation. You get Moniak, which Munoz did, and then you go to the 8th inning, Ohtani leads it off, then Trout. And even if they do something to you, it's not the end of the world at that point. Whereas at the 7th, it might have been. So good call by Scott there to go to Andres Munoz. Sewald finished off in the 9th, ended up throwing a lot of pitches because Gio Urshela decided to foul off 17 straight foul balls, which a little frustrating because that means Sewald may not be available tomorrow. I think he will be in a pinch. But you could tell the Mariners wanted this win just by the way they handled the pitching staff in a 4-run game. They did not hold back from going to some of their big guns. So good job with the pitching staff. Big time shout out to Brian Wu. I thought he was really, really solid tonight. Offensively, not much to complain about tonight. 16 hits, a lot of singles, a lot of kind of dink and dunk stuff. The Mariners have been on the other end of it, seems like this season. They get someone to fall in, some home run. I think 1 home run as well. Oddly enough, only 4 extra base hits out of the 16, which I guess isn't that bizarre. But like I said, just a great game all around. JP was 4 for 5 with an RBI. Great game for JP in a game that a lot of people thought he might need the day off with a lefty on the mound. And JP comes up and has a fantastic game. I thought it might have been a good game to give JP a day off because Dylan Moore's back. You have Caballero play it short there. But JP was having none of that. Julio, 3 for 5, a 2-run home run off Sandoval. Julio is back. You look at the numbers the last 20 games or so, he is back to what he has been or what he was last season. So 100% I think Julio is fully back. We're getting, I feel like this is the Julio we saw last season. I think you guys can see that as well. Not swinging through as many pitches. He's still swinging. Like Julio goes up there to put the ball in play, but he does not look nearly as lost as he has in the past this year. Ty was 1 for 4 with a double. Teoscar was 1 for 5. He had an RBI single, which put the Mariners up 3-0 in the 3rd. Kelenic was 1 for 5 with a double. Good game for Eugenio Suarez. I should have pointed out he hit the ball pretty hard yesterday in some outs. It was just, yesterday was such a frustrating game. Gino was 3 for 4 with an RBI and a walk, so Gino on base 4 times today. I still want to see some extra base power from Gino. It was all singles today and a walk, so all one-baggers. I want to see some gap stuff. I want to see some home runs because that's what you need from Eugenio Suarez. But again, with what this offense has been doing, this is a true case of beggars cannot be choosers. I'll take it. Dylan Moore, the only Mariner that did not reach base today, was 0 for 5. A.J. Pollock was 2 for 4. Good to see a couple base hits off a lefty for him. He had a great diving catch in the 9th as well. So a nice game from A.J. Pollock. And then Tom Murphy was 1 for 4 with an RBI single. Really good things from the offense. Not only did they put up 16 hits, put up 6 runs, and just have a nice game overall, they added on. The Mariners scored those 3 runs in the 3rd inning on the Julio home run and the Teoscar single. And then Ohtani homers in the bottom of the 3rd. With a young pitcher like Brian Wu going, you want to add some runs on there. Not feel comfortable at 3-2. Now, the irony of it is 3-2 would have won the game. But, you never know how it plays out differently. And the offense answers right back in the 4th with 2 runs. That felt really big. That felt like a couple runs they needed and kind of took the wind out of the sails of the Angels a little bit to get that 2-run home run and get those runs back from the Ohtani home run. Trying to think if I had anything else to really add. Like I said, great game for JP. It looks like Julio's back. A win that certainly doesn't solve anything for the. I shouldn't say that. It gets a win. They need a win. It doesn't undo a bad road trip here, and still disappointing that the team is kind of muddled around 500. But like I said, you got to play cards you were dealt, and it's just where this team is right now. But despite how bad the road trip has been, getting swept in Texas, the San Diego series wasn't bad, but that last game was rough. You've still got a chance you can win tomorrow to win a series here, to keep it at 500, to go home. Despite this road trip not being very good and all that, you still got a chance to go home and feel okay about yourselves if you can get a series win tomorrow. You can still go, listen, it wasn't a great road trip, but we didn't bury ourselves. I've talked about this team needs to start making some statements, beating some winning teams, They did that tonight, and they need to win a series against a winning team. They need to win this series tomorrow. They do. Like I said last night, I think today was a must-win. It just felt like it. It felt like a game this team needed to win, and they did. I think tomorrow is too. I think tomorrow is a game this team has got to win. You want to get it back to 500. You gain a couple games on the Angels. You stay within 4 or 5 games of the wild card, and you've got 98 games left, and you feel okay. Are we happy? No, but we can take a deep breath and know if this team can get hot, they can maybe get back into this race a little bit. I do think tomorrow's kind of a must-win game as well. And they need to start winning some series against good teams. The Angels are 4 games over 500. I don't know how good they are. The Angels are a very top-heavy team. But it's still nonetheless a pretty decent baseball team. One thing I was going to point out is Patrick Sandoval for the Angels, who has not been that great this year. One of the lowest strikeout rates amongst starting pitchers. Eric Goldsmith is saying on the broadcast, I don't think he qualifies yet, just doesn't have innings. Weird line from him. 5 innings, 10 runs, 10 hits, 5 runs all earned, no walks, 8 strikeouts. It was kind of a very odd start. It reminded me a little bit of kind of when you see George Kirby have rough starts. I didn't think Sandoval was bad. Anytime you strike out 8 and don't walk anybody, you weren't bad, but just a lot of hits. And when you're in the zone a lot, that's kind of what happens. We've seen it with George Kirby. That's kind of, I think, what happened to Patrick Sandoval today. I'm not going to sit here and say he was great or good, but I don't think he was terrible either. This wasn't a case of like some games where you go in and go, man, that starting pitcher was bad. That was not it. I thought Sandoval threw the ball fairly decently. And kudos to the Mariners. We've talked about this. Like, there's going to be times when the other starters are decent, but you just have to battle through and put runs on it. This team has actually done a pretty decent job recently in some of these games of working pitch counts. They did it against Joe Musgrove with the Padres. They did it to Andrew Heaney in Texas. They did it last night to Shohei Ohtani, but they aren't getting that knockout blow. They're just putting guys on. They're getting a couple runs, which is fine. It worked in San Diego when they beat Musgrove. But like last night, they needed one more big hit, and they win that game, and they couldn't get it. Tonight they did. Tonight they managed that kind of 4th inning there to put those extra couple runs on, and not chase Sandoval necessarily, but get that insurance, get those extra runs to sort of put the exclamation point on. That's what this team needs to do more of. Whether it's by base hits, walks, home runs, I don't care. But yeah, Sandoval struck out 8 for someone that hasn't struck out a lot. Listen, the Mariners strike out a lot. They've got like 4 guys in the top 5 in the AL in strikeouts. I did want to bring that up because I had a couple people ask me what I thought about that. I'm not going to lie, I don't really care. Outs are outs. Now, I'd rather you put the ball in play. You can move guys over, produce runs, create runs, but you can also ground into double plays as well. So, yeah, I'd prefer it, but we knew this team was going to strike out. There was no secret this team going it. If you had told me going into the season this team's going to lead the AL in strikeouts, I said, yeah, I think that's possible, but I still thought they'd be decent and still be a solid team. Teo's going to strike out. Gino's going to strike out. Kellenick's going to strike out. Cal's going to have strikeouts. So not too shocking for me that this team would be amongst the league leaders in strikeouts. I don't think that's necessarily the problem. The problem is just they're not working in those, even though talking about the broadcast night, the walk, the home run, the Ty France hit by pitch, and then the home run. They just haven't been doing what this team's blueprint was to win. Even tonight wasn't really the blueprint for the Mariners, but they found a way, and they were able to do it through singles, and I don't care how you do it, get wins. Need another one tomorrow. Need it. Tonight's nice. Need another win tomorrow. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate everybody watching. If you made it this far, I will be back tomorrow with the post-game recap. Enjoy what's left of your Saturday night if you're still awake, and I will see everybody tomorrow. As always, go Mariners. Peace.